Okay, we'll call the meeting to order, receive comments from the public. Larry, would you like to address the board?
Larry Rogers, from Lone Star Environmental Conservation District. Wanted to give you a personal invitation. I know you've already got an invitation from Lone Star. We're holding our stakeholders meeting coming Wednesday, the 26th at 5 o'clock. And it's to kick off our third phase of our subsidence study. And we'll be helping to determine where we're gonna put some wells to get better data, and we sure like for y'all to do that.
Are y'all looking at, well, I guess we can't have an exchange under, never, sorry, I'll call you.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Number 3, consider an act on request for adjustments to and relief from specific charges imposed by the district. The consent agenda, are there any items that any board member would like to have removed for further discussion? Okay, if not, do we have a motion to approve and a second? All in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Regular agenda number 9, the San Jac report. Chris?
All right, so just a couple items in your report, and I looked at the page. There is a packet of information we've provided before, usually around October. Starts on page 39. This information, basically, we come once a year and we say, here's our project plan, these are the projects, we need the funding, this is what it's broken. Y'all provide the funds, and so this is a report that comes back and says projects that y'all funded before, after pictures, budget adherence, schedule adherence, stuff like that. So just a recap of the projects y'all have funded. The second item is there's a lot of information in the packet related to the strategic plan. There's 2 sets of notes there. There's 1 set of notes here, including 1 stakeholder meeting set of notes. I'm not going to go through all that, but the key is to know that November 2nd is the next stakeholder meeting. That meeting, we're going to talk about the 8 alternatives as well as the cost associated with those 8 alternatives. Between that meeting in January, we're hoping for more discussion here at the MUDs to kind of determine which way the MUD want to. And then in January, we're going to be looking for a vote from the MUDs and the stakeholders on path forward. A lot of discussion in the next coming months about the wastewater side of things.
So there was a key date, Chris, on page 2 of 4 on this October 7th dated. And it says that FNI would provide updated rate impact template to San Jacinto River Authority by close of business Monday, October 10th. Did that happen?
It did, but also we're back and forth on it because part of it is a very complicated spreadsheet. And we're talking inflation factors and what else to use instead of cross-checking and QA/QCing it. So we'll go back.
I guess my main concern, we on schedule for all these things that were outlined here.
We're on schedule to meet November 2nd.
Okay.
Everything between now and November 2nd is fluid.
All right.
But we'll get there.
You finished with yours?
Unless you have questions.
I have questions.
Go ahead.
Page 43. Water plant number 4, ground storage tank number 2. There's $1 million, give or take, underrun on that project. But I read the description and I couldn't ascertain why it was off by that much.
It was good bids at the time. That's when we had done it, there's always like 30% contingency. In this case, it was actually a good bid that came through. Now that $1 million, just to clarify, that $1 million sits in future facilities.
Right.
It will be used to fund the EST 6 storage tank in a couple of years or so.
Right. So I just want to make an observation. I went to the trouble of actually making a summary of these. There's 10 projects here. Some of them are cash funded, some are R&R funded, and 1 is capacity funded in conjunction with other things. And of those 10, the project budget amount is $9,375,000. And the final cost on those projects was $7.5 million. So in other words, it's under under budget by 20%. And so, whether it's good bidding, I think it's good management is what it is, in my view. So I'd just like you to pass it on to your team. And with our thanks, frankly, because we're paying the bill.
Agree?
Yeah.
No, I'll definitely pass that on. And when you're looking at the budgets, have 8 million in projects.
Right.
The extra 2 million that's been rolled over is funding generators. I'll definitely pass it on.
But of the projects that closed during the last fiscal year, they're under budget by 20%. Okay.
Appreciate that.
Any other questions for Chris? Thanks, Chris. Brian, the attorney's report.
No journal items under 10. I do need to cover item 11, if you all regarding the investment policy.
Any general questions for Brian? Okay, if not, number 11, annual review of policy FIN 10 regarding investment and disbursement of district funds and adoption of a resolution and amended policy in connection therewith.
All right, so in your packet, you'll see a red line of the proposed changes for this year. Reminder, Public Fund Investment Act requires that the district conduct an annual review. Our firm conducts that review on behalf of our district clients and makes any recommendations regarding potential changes for that yearly review. There are a handful of what I would call minor administrative revisions to the policy this year. You'll see the additions in blue, the deletions in red. We do need a motion to adopt the resolution evidencing that the annual review has been completed and that we are adopting the amended policy.
Okay, do we have such a motion?
So moved.
In a second,
Second.
discussion, all in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Okay. Let's see here. Number 12, status of proposed annexation of 9.8 acre tract into the district and authorization in connection or action in connection therewith.
Well, we've got everything we need except the signed petition back from Howard Hughes. So they signed it and they're supposed to be writing it back to us. Just haven't received it yet. So we've got the application ready to go. As soon as we get that petition, we can get it filed.
Okay, so we're still holding on that.
That's correct.
Hey, question.
Go ahead.
I don't ever remember seeing that number before, so I just went back and checked, and it's always been proposed as 2 tracts. One is 3.2 plus acres and 6.5 plus acres. Are they just being combined now?
Yeah. I asked my paralegal to update that to reflect the meets and bounds. It's actually in the application.
As one? Okay.
Okay. Number 13, receive and act on update regarding the Bear Branch, Panther Branch and Research Forest Drive Drainage Improvement Project.
We are very close to getting the professional services agreement and all the documents finalized. I think you were copied on the last version, Brian, for the Bear Branch, for the professional services agreement with LJA. And anyway, it's been a laborious, long process, but you'll check your email just in the last day or so. I think you got what we call the last, I'm thinking the last version. Mike, I think, McMoody, you had didn't have any additional changes if I remember.
No, it looked good. Greg did a good job putting that together. It had everything in there that I remember from 20 years ago, but I used to do that.
Okay.
So,
Look at it.
anyway, I was visiting we're technically on schedule, but I know it seems like it's been a long time since the funding came through and getting this up to this step. If there was a desire, once we get it where we think it's signable and recommended for the board, if y'all wanted to have a special meeting just to keep this going on a faster track, we could do it, but
Okay, we can either have a meeting or Paul, do you have any comments or does anybody have any comments about that?
Oh. I guess I'm concerned about the cost aspect of that agreement. So that needs to be vetted, obviously, and compared against what the original estimates were to see where we are.
We'll have that information. We're comfortable that it's in line. But we'll have that to share with you when the agreement is ready to present.
As I'm thinking about it, this is a big enough project. It's been going on long enough. I think maybe we ought to have a special meeting where we can take a look at this thing. If you send it out and so we can, review it, put some questions together, discuss it, and, where everybody's got some feedback and we can, take a look at it.
It's a lengthy document, so I think I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I support that.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to come down and pick up a copy if that's an issue.
Well, we'll get, once we get review or back from Brian, and then probably hopefully in the next week or so, then we'll all agree that it's in our recommended draft form and get it to you guys and then get a meeting scheduled.
Okay, let's do that.
If it's going to be a week, I agree. I think we should have the meeting. If it's going to be another month, then it probably doesn't matter.
I think it's, from what I can tell, we're a week or so away, not a month away.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, that moves us into 14, the general manager's report.
Just a few things to highlight from our trustee meeting. You may have seen some of the news stories, paper and TV about the U of H and their subsidence report. I have been in discussions with that department head about considering data from that, because their study went from the Gulf Coast all the way up north of College Station. They claim that they can refine that data for Montgomery County, the Woodlands area. So we're meeting with them, with Dr. Neil Gaynor, who's a geoscience guy on the trustee board, to see if there's any data that we think might be useful to this community and to the Woodlands area. And then we'll be talking more about it at the trustee level.
Okay. Okay.
We're also, I reported at the trustee meeting that I'm encouraging SJRA's financial advisor and our audit finance committee to try to get a meeting set November, December to look at how the bonds that we think they will be selling to fund their multi-million-dollar 10-year infrastructure renewal plan, how that might impact the retail water rate or the retail water bill for our customers. So we want to get that meeting started to get that topic going so we can get an idea of what that is going to look like.
Okay.
So that's hopefully November, December. We're also in discussions with HARC. When there was a One Water task force, that task force had reached out to HARC about creating a portal, public education, public information portal for stormwater, groundwater, surface water. And then as that group kind of quit meeting, then that was put on pause. Well, our public education committee that Bob Lux has put back together for this Woodlands Water Agency has an interest in maybe finalizing that. So we're in discussions with HARC and maybe looking at community partners for that topic as well. We reported that our negotiations with TACUS to try to finalize the outstanding system damage bills has stalled somewhat. I've reached out to some upper management over there to try to work through this. So we'll see how that goes in the next few days. And then we also talked about a monthly water bill comparison that our staff had put together that you may have seen on some social media posts or on your weekly irrigation recommendation that I think puts us in a fairly favorable light. So we had some discussion about that, and there was a question about, did it include the retail sewer rate increase that was proposed for January? And there was a little bit of confusion on my part. It does not. We had talked about that back at the end of September, but it had decided not to factor it into that notice at this time. So if you look at it, it talks about water bills and compares ad valorem tax rates for the various communities. So I think, again, I think it paints a pretty favorable picture for us. And that concludes my report.
Okay, any questions for Jim? Thanks, Jim. Trustee report, Paul.
Not much to add to what Jim said, other than the fact that we are going to put an item on the agenda for next month at the trustee level to take a look at credit card fees that are being absorbed by Woodlands Water, which is then passed back to Olin Glens. And the preliminary number that Maureen had was over $530,000 last year. So it's a significant number. And we just need to, in my view, take a look at what all the various pieces are, how much we're paying for each of those levels, and determine what we want to do about it, if anything. Just a point of interest, before Friday night's football game between the Woodlands High School and College Park High School, we went to the local restaurant, and lo and behold, they added 3.8% credit card fee to my bill.
Are you serious?
So that's what's happening. That's not isolated.
3.8.
First I've seen that with restaurants.
Pardon?
First I've seen that with restaurants,
Yeah.
and with the other vendors.
I've seen it in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
not here as much.
Seen it more and more.
What restaurant was it?
Pardon?
What restaurant was it?
Which one do we avoid?
That's the Mexican restaurant there, right on the corner, that shop, or that,
Herrera's,
I've forgotten the name of it, to be honest with you.
down where Randall's used to be?
No.
No, it's the other way.
It's near the Shenandoah, it's
Oh.
near the football stadium.
Oh.
First down.
No, that's,
That wasn't on the agenda, but it's,
Okay, closed session. Nope. Any matters to put on a future agenda? If not, we're adjourned.
Smoke.
A quick one. Thank you, everybody.
That's $1,000.
Did you really?
As soon as you get a date for that special meeting, let me know.